Hello, Mark Red Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today, my guest is Ben Milston. Thanks for joining us, Ben. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Mark. Doing really
Well,
well.
thank you.
Really excited for our meeting. Glad to be a part of this. Awesome.
Well, thanks for joining us. So Ben, tell us a little bit about where you live at. Just a little bit of background.
Yeah, right. So I'm born in Australia, Sydney.
Okay.
I moved
Okay.
to Israel about 10 years ago. I grew up, nice family, good education, and everything on the outside kind of seemed like the good place to be.
Right.
But everything going on in the inside was where the issues started, coming up, and it doesn't really matter often what we have on the outside. It's what we have on the inside that makes
Amen.
our life either good or bad. So going through school and whatever, I struggled with depression and we began to get into drugs and alcohol as a way to try
Oh
and
wow.
deal with it. We're not really taught in school how to deal with our emotions, what to do with our self
True.
talk, how to deal with that inner dialogue.
Yes.
Um, and so after school, I kind of ran away to Israel to try and get away from everything. Um, Wanted to try and find meaning in my life as everyone, wanted to try and find
Oh,
connection as everyone does,
sure.
wanted to try
Right.
and find love,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
all the classics. And I had an all right first 2 years or so, and then I started spiraling down again. And then it kind of
Oh,
like hit me that I can't run away from what's going on inside. Wherever
that is
I
true.
go,
Yeah.
the inside
Yeah.
comes and follows me. Um,
Yes. Yes. It
so
does.
that kind of began my journey of just figuring out, okay, well, what do I have control of? If I don't have control of the things going on in the outside, what can I actually
Right.
control going on in the inside?
Right.
Um, and then that was a 10-year now journey that I'm still
Okay.
currently on of just massive metamorphosis, and I'm sure we'll get into it throughout
Yeah.
the discussion.
Yes. Yes. So okay. So what? Why did you move from Australia to Israel? I mean, what was the impetus for choosing that country?
Yeah, so I grew up in a Jewish family,
Oh,
so
did you? Okay.
the only kind of other connection that I had to either a people or a religion was Israel. And
Okay.
so when I was kind of trying to find what was important for me, the same kind of ideas kept coming back of a higher purpose. Okay, maybe I have to turn to
Right.
religion, maybe I have to turn to a god, or it was a people, maybe I have to turn to a nation. It was okay. If it's not Australia, if it's not Sydney, where else do I have a connection to? What else can I try and look
Right.
for? So that was kind of the only other step that seemed like maybe it would tick off those boxes. Uh,
Sure.
it
Okay.
didn't, but it seemed like it might.
It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. And until you
Yeah,
do it, you don't know if it does. That's for sure.
for sure.
So okay. So you said you suffer from depression and everything. It sounds like maybe a couple of times or more than that. So what? I mean, I talked to a lot of people with anxiety and depression. What do you think was some of the causes of becoming depressed?
Yeah. Well, I think some of the big causes initially was that I come from a fairly academic family,
Okay.
and so even though there wasn't necessarily pressure put on me per se, the fact that my all my cousins were very academically smart, very book smart, very math, science, all that kind
Sure.
of thing.
Okay.
So we would do family dinners, and there was math talk and equation talk around the table, and I was just kind of out of it. And so
Uh,
there was definitely a feeling of wanting to fit in, a feeling
sure.
of maybe I'm not smart enough, a feeling that I wasn't good enough. And I think a lot of the type of feelings that we get as kids when we're trying to find our place. I was also very small and scrawny, and I'd get picked on like that. I was trying to
Sure.
come to school and please, if someone had their hair spiked up, I would come with my hair spiked up the next day, and then someone else would have it combed over, so I'd comb it over, and
I can
it was
understand that.
constantly trying to
Yep.
fit in,
Exactly.
and I think it was just a matter of school wasn't the type of place for me. It wasn't the type of way that I learn. It wasn't the right type of educational system for me. I
Okay.
think also the framework for mainstream society wasn't the framework that was right for me, and
Okay.
so because I felt an outsider there, and maybe also within kids at school, also within
Right.
family, that
Right.
I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, that's a lot to
And
deal with. Yeah.
and I think just as a kid, we're not really taught to, okay, well, tell me about your emotions. Tell me what you're going through. Talk to me about this. It was kind of all just kept inside, and I was meant to. It was almost like I felt like I needed to be doing better, but I couldn't ask for help. I couldn't ask, obviously I could have. And even, my parents would say, like, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. But
Right.
it still that internal voice of just, I've got to figure this out on my own. And we
I hear
can't,
you.
a lot of the times we need help. A lot of the times we
Yep.
need
Yep.
support, and we need someone who's gone through some of the stuff to say,
Yeah.
it's okay
Exactly.
and this is fine. And
Yep.
so,
Yep. It is. But at that age, you don't know that. So, and
yeah.
some people never get that figured out. I can kind of relate with that with school. I actually didn't fit in and I just was quiet. If I was quiet, I couldn't get, I just couldn't get picked on, couldn't get any trouble. And it wasn't until a lot later that I found my voice. And now you can't shut me up. But I was that way. You just don't know that as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's just so okay. You did that, and so how did that finally? How did you start coming out of that depression then?
So when I started spiraling down again in Israel, and I had got an injury, and I was in bed, and
Oh,
um, I had just broken up with a serious girlfriend that was, moving over there was kind of like a new start. So I did feel some
sure,
more confidence and some more, but then
right,
once this all kind of came crumbling down again, my brother actually recommended that I read the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
okay,
And that was I remember lying in bed and thinking, realizing that I actually can hear my own thoughts, and it was this kind of breakthrough moment of,
sure,
a kind of like level up of self-awareness, where there
right,
wasn't just subconscious thinking, but there was a subconscious thought and then a added awareness to that thought. And so
okay,
that was kind of the first time that I became aware that I actually not only had an inner dialogue, but that I could control that inner dialogue if I wanted to, or if I taught myself how
right,
to. Um, and that was really the point where I started reading a ton of books on self
okay,
development. I,
uh huh,
got stuck into TED Talks and podcasts and YouTube, and I
cool,
was just soaking up everything because
right, right,
all of these ideas, all of these concepts of consciousness and limiting beliefs and mindset, and all these terms were completely foreign to me. So there was this
yes,
whole new world of, wait a minute, you mean I can actually control my
uh
life and my
huh,
thoughts and my mindset and my
right,
emotions? What do you mean?
right, right, yeah,
Yeah, and I remember thinking when I was reading and it was saying, like, if you're feeling like depressed, chances are you're the one causing the depression. You just don't necessarily realize it. But if you become aware of the type of thoughts that you're having, they're all
right,
depressive thoughts. It's these
okay,
thoughts
cool,
of, I'm not good enough, no one loves me, I can never succeed, it's not going to happen.
right,
It happens for everyone else, but not me. And then
right, right,
realize, hey, that's actually me telling myself that. That's, maybe someone else is telling that to me as well. But
yeah, but I know
at
what
the
you
end of the day,
mean.
it's me repeating it over and over again, and
Yep,
that's the ultimate cause of my depression. And so when I realized that, I began to completely break down all my thought patterns,
oh
my
wow,
belief structures. I began to question everything that
wow,
life had given me up until that moment,
sure,
and then questioned, well, what thought patterns do I want? What kind of thought behavior do I want to have? What kind of
Hmm.
subconscious thoughts do I want to have? And how do I go about creating these thoughts on a conscious
Right.
level so
Right.
that they become subconscious? Um, and then I traveled, I hitchhiked around Europe for about 3 months, um,
Nice.
to going country to country, different
Right.
communities and all that. And
Cool.
I went to Mongolia. I organized a horse caravan for about 20 people in Mongolia for four
Wow.
months, where we horse caravanned, like, with the horses and riding. It was
Uh-huh.
really raw,
Awesome.
really, I was connecting to just myself, my life, okay, what else can I do? What else can I
Uh-huh.
do in my
Uh-huh.
life?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and I think the more that I challenged my past life, the more and all the previous thoughts that I had, the more I was able to realize that I had full control over the life that I wanted to make for myself, the life that I wanted to bring, the type of feelings, the type of people that I wanted to bring into my life. And the more that I did that, the more it confirmed that I have the power to do that, you know?
Yes.
So it was this kind of spiral again upwards of just,
Uh-huh.
well, what else do I have control over? What else can I
Exactly.
manifest into
Yeah.
my life? What else is,
Right. What else is possible? Yeah.
yeah,
So that is so cool. That's almost like I would equate it to first time you start walking as a little kid. It's just like, what else can I do? This is so
yeah.
awesome that that's the way this. Um, so is that what got you to what you're doing today? Then.
So what kind of, I guess, got me to where I'm at today, I went back to Australia for a bit, started traveling around Australia. I met my now wife, who's Israeli
Okay.
in Australia, actually, and she brought me back to Israel. Um,
Okay.
and the two of us went to South. During COVID, I opened up a small business importing eco-friendly products to Israel, and that was
Okay.
just something because I didn't know what to do, and I was trying
Right.
to also find myself again,
Yep.
um, during COVID and whatever else. And I was at a point in my life where I had, for 8 years or so, been really focusing on myself. So I wasn't worried about what I would be doing. It
Uh
was
huh.
just a matter of when I would find out what I would be doing. I'd worked,
Right.
fruit picking and in cafes and in restaurants, and I
Wow.
did quite a lot
Okay.
of fruit picking actually, and I did volunteer work, and so I was doing a whole bunch of different stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
we went to South America and spent about a year caravanning around South America.
Oh wow.
And I was doing some more online courses for NLP and some
Oh
other
yeah.
things. I really wanted to get into more of NLP so I started looking up some courses that I do when I get back to Israel. And I came across coaching, and it really kind of hit me in the face of, wow, the last 10 years of my life has been my learning, has been this, progress, and this, I've read so many books and I've done
Right.
courses and talks and whatever
Right.
to get myself to a place where I really know what I'm doing, and I really know what I'm talking about, and I
Exactly.
know how to,
Yes.
do these processes. I was like, well, wouldn't that be great if I could help other people do that? Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
wonderful
Like
if I
win-win.
could take
Yes.
this knowledge, help other people, be working at home or in Israel or in Australia or traveling
Right.
or
Wherever.
wherever,
Yeah.
and make a living out of that. And
Yep.
so here I am.
So cool. That's the way to do it. I mean, I love that journey. So, yeah, building it, and then, so do you do NLP? You were talking about that. The
So yes, NLP's a modality that I use in my coaching sessions.
Okay.
Different visualization techniques, sometimes anchoring, and just it depends. Because I've got a large kind of scope on different self development um, modalities. I've done quite a lot of meditation, a
Okay.
lot of mindfulness practices, a lot of visualization practices. So just depending on where what my client needs in the moment, what I feel like is important for
True.
them, um,
Right.
I can bring that up. And so for a while, I began as a mindset coach
Okay.
because it felt like, okay, I've done also some, ideas and mini courses, mini online courses on how our subconscious mind works and the workings of our brain, and how these thoughts, connect, and the synapses and everything. And
Right, right.
I was like, yeah, sure, a mindset coach. And then I occurred that that wasn't quite enough for me being a mindset coach. I want to be a self development coach because I want
Sure.
to bring in, the visualization and the mindfulness and the
Bring it all in.
meditation and all that.
Uh-huh.
And so that's just kind of how I've gone through that journey. And it feels really right because for me, I needed the whole 360, spectrum of just different things to be in a place where I'm feeling good about myself so that
Right.
everything ripples out to
Ripple's
everything
always
around
good.
me, my work, to my clients, to my family. And I realized that when I work with my clients in a holistic manner, working on everything in their life, working on different, modalities, just trying to better them as people, then
Uh-huh.
I can see how that really reflects on how they show up for their clients and the confidence they get, if it's social media, or picking up the phone, or, whatever else it
Yep.
is.
Yep.
So, at the end of the day, it's got to start from within and then ripple outwards.
It does. I mean, and with I can tell you have passion for this. I can definitely feel your passion. But Ripple, yeah, just think how much good you're doing by helping those people too into the world. And we definitely need more Ripple. So,
Yeah.
how do people get a hold of you if to be coached by you?
So on social media, I'm on Facebook, mainly because I don't know Instagram, don't like Instagram, so I'm happy
I don't
with
either.
Facebook. You
Uh-huh.
can find me Ben Milston on Facebook. Shoot me a message. Would love to chat to you. Or go to my site, which is www.benmilston.com.
Okay.
Um, you can find some freebies there. I've got a couple ebooks you can download. I've got my full story, which you can read about.
Cool.
And also just shoot me an email. I would love to get in touch.
Okay. Very cool. So where would you in like 5 years? Where would you like to see this being at? What would be the vision?
Right. So I love the idea of community. I feel like we are always better to help ourselves in the world when we do it in a community. I think that was also something that maybe I felt that I lacked for a lot of my years. And, when I
Okay.
came to Israel, it was something I was searching for. And so I'm in the moment, doing the background skeleton building of, a community that I want to open up, where we can have holistic practitioners, holistic healers to come together and share their experiences, to grow together so
Oh,
that they
cool.
can also go on being, impactful, successful healers to other people. And I
Yes.
feel that that way, will really ripple out that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to try and do. So
Okay, very very cool. So I got to ask, Dreamcatcher podcast. What was your dream when you were growing up?
what was my dream?
When you were growing up, yes.
Um, I know for a while I wanted to open up a cafe,
Okay,
or a restaurant.
cool.
I think that for a lot of school, I wasn't necessarily good at anything. I was kind of average at a lot of things, but nothing really stood out to me as, oh, that's where my passion is.
That's it. Uh huh.
So I knew that, or, what I had learned from society was that I go to school, I go to university, get a job, work,
Yeah, yeah.
marry, die.
Yeah.
Um,
What they
and
tell you should do. Yes. Yeah.
and so I went to school and I went to university and I studied hospitality management. And I, when I was there, I was doing the work, but it wasn't like, yeah, I want to open up this
Just you were
cafe. Let's
excited
do
about it.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was,
Your passion.
there was something that wasn't right, but I guess it never occurred to me to like dig deeper. It never occurred to
True.
me that I have other options, or that there are other things that I could be doing.
Right.
Um,
Yes. I know what you mean.
so I think that was just kind of like, yeah, I'll be a businessman. That's what I'll do.
Okay. And I think, society, even in this day and age, it's still, even in the United States, I'm amazed how many people still go for the, graduate and go to college and get a job and then retire. You would think
Yeah,
with all the stuff that's available online, it's amazing that I'm talking to you over in Israel and it's just like you're in the same room, which is so
yeah,
cool. Why so many people still follow that mindset. And so I think it's interesting that still is, but with people like us, open people's minds up to that there's so much, everything's possible. So
yeah.
so would you ever want to do a restaurant or anything like that now? You have your own?
No, I think
No.
that ship
That was
sailed.
pretty quick. I hear you. There's, oh my gosh, I mean, there's a lot to anybody a good restaurant, there's so much that goes
Yeah,
into that.
yeah, yeah.
And very, very much. So
I'm
what are
I'm
some other
happy,
things?
with my job working on the computer, and I'll go sit at the restaurants and
There you go. Win win there. Yeah, that's definitely.
totally.
So, are there some other things you would like to do in the future?
um, I still love traveling,
Okay.
and I would love to. I think just take my kids, wife, and do a bit of a caravan trip with the family. Take the
Awesome.
computer, and just kind of go for it. Um, I think at the moment where we've been traveling for the last 6 years or so, seven
Right.
years. So for now, I'm kind of feeling like having my roots down and connecting in with some land and having a bit of community.
Right.
Um, but the idea of just the openness of just being able to take the computer, take the family,
Yep.
and kind of go for it
Yeah.
would be really lovely. And I think
Kind
also
of.
just continue that process. Just being able to. I've spoken to someone else who actually runs retreats in Portugal
Oh. Oh,
and
really cool.
possibly in Costa Rica as well. And we've spoken about, coming over there and being there for a bit and doing, sitting with some retreats with him and being a facilitator or help there. And that, that could be super awesome. But
Oh
everything
yeah.
in its own stage. But yeah, I think there's heaps of things that can come up. But it's I think for me it's really beautiful just kind of connecting in where I'm at now,
Yep.
and I'm super happy where I'm at now. And when something comes along, then be like, let's do that.
Exactly.
My wife and I are both very spontaneous people.
Well,
So
that's
something
good.
comes up, we'll hop on. That's all.
Yep. And it's good to be happy where you are because some people are never happy in their whole life, and I think that's awesome. So we're in Portugal. I've been having Lisbon, Portugal come up a lot in my Portugal. When you said Portugal, I thought this is about the fifth time in the last month Portugal has been mentioned, and it's just like Portugal must be the place to go. So, and Costa Rica, I've heard is beautiful too. But
Yeah, well,
uh,
yeah, they've got the good weather. They've got some amazing communities. They've got cheap
uh
land. So
no, that is cool. So, and talking about family, we have to announce that you're a new dad. So, and
yeah,
congratulations on that.
thank
So,
you.
a new daughter, and may I ask her name?
Her name's Gaia.
Beautiful. I love that. So this first, I mean, so she s- sleeps most of the time, or is she
When she's not
cooperative? Because
eating.
her that sounds like a baby. That sounds very much
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
she's amazing. We actually conceived her in Brazil while
Cool.
caravanning. So she her name fits her perfectly, being the I guess personified of Mother Earth. And we were in this beautiful area in Brazil and down by the rivers, and it was just like we were really
Ah,
connected, and we were
love
you know,
that.
meditating and meeting people and cooking by the fire, and so it was just this
So
really beautiful
cool.
stage of our life. And now she's come in and she's just super chilled, and she's
Awesome.
gorgeous, and she eats and she sleeps and she smiles, and she's you can
Perfect.
see she's really curious, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
It's that
Mm-hmm.
curiosity which I guess she gets from me. Well,
That's
mother's very
awesome.
curious, but she you know a beautiful trait to have,
That
and to see
is.
my child, just kind of like
The wonder,
wondering what
yes.
this world's about.
All new. Yes, it is. So I
Actually,
mean, that's so
actually
awesome.
read to her. I wrote down a bunch of positive affirmations that I read to her
Awesome. I really
every
like
day,
that.
which is really cool.
No,
Yeah,
started out well. That is so good.
yeah, yeah.
No, I think that's awesome. So you were talking about caravanning. How do you still do that, or how did you ever start doing that?
Um, so now we're just kind of grounding, but like we both really love the idea of we had backpacked around for a while. You know, as far as our travel's concerned, we backpacked a
Right.
lot and hitchhiked and you know done lots of trekking and that kind of thing. And this kind of was the next step up in the game. You know, so we flew
Okay.
over to Chile. We bought a caravan. We changed, you know,
Ah,
turned it into a. We bought a van, changed it into a caravan with a kitchen in the back and you know bed
very
and
cool.
space. And then we were just kind of driving. We had a you know our GPS
Ah,
map and
that'd have been
went
wonderful.
off. Yeah.
Oh, I mean that is, and I heard Chile is really beautiful. I mean, it looks like just from the probably
Yeah.
all of it was beautiful, but so why did you start there with your caravan? Is that just where it started then?
We
Or
actually started in. We flew to Buenos Aires in Argentina, but we
okay,
didn't realize that for tourists you can only buy a caravan in Chile if you're to leave the country. Yeah, it's
oh
some kind of
really?
law
That's
that
interesting.
if you buy a Argentinian plate, number plate, then you can't actually leave the country with that number plate. Whereas the Chilean plates, you can. So we
That's
caught an
interesting.
overnight bus from Buenos Aires to Santiago and bought the van there, turned it up over about a month, and then you know we zigzagged back and forth between Argentina and Chile. We ended up
Nice.
um, getting stuck in Bariloche in Argentina during COVID for about 5 months. We
Oh, oh wow.
beautiful kind of you know landscape. It was just gorgeous river and the mountains and the
So a
forests and
good
all.
place to get stuck for 5 months. It sounds like. I mean, if you had to get stuck, I guess.
And then you know
Wow.
and then snow started coming down, so we were in a Airbnb for a little bit. And
Awesome.
you know that was also a super cool experience.
Uh
But
huh.
after you know after a little while, after you know 6 months of being kind of in lockdown, just the two of
Yeah.
us, we're like, all right, maybe we'll go
Re-
back to Israel, be with
ready.
our friends and family, and
Yeah.
then we'll you know do our thing. So we came back to Israel. We were here for 2 years. Opened up that business, did that for 2 years, sold the business. We had left our caravan in a company in Buenos Aires.
Okay.
So then we came back to Buenos Aires, picked up the van. It needed a very good cleaning out.
Did it? uh-huh.
And we kept going. We went through Uruguay, a lot of Brazil, cut across
Wow.
Brazil to Bolivia, Peru, and then back down.
Awesome.
Uh,
Wow. What a
yeah,
trip. Oh.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
was there, I mean, one country that stood out more than another that you liked or disliked?
Um, I think Peru was our favorite.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's the people, the culture, the other places were a lot more done up, westernized
Okay.
than I thought they would be. Um, but like Peru was, I guess, what you imagine Peru to be. It was that kind of
Right.
like,
Kind of.
you know,
Yeah, I know what you mean there then. Okay. But the other ones were kind of Western, like you say. Oh,
yeah,
okay. That's interesting. Well, I find that, my wife and I went to Italy at the end of June, and I was surprised how much
beautiful.
I was thinking everybody would speak Italian and I would need to have and everybody, I mean, except for one person, I think everybody spoke enough English they could talk. And it was
Um,
just like, well, this isn't quite what I thought it was going to be like. I mean, and it was different than and I guess when we have this kind of
yeah, but
thing
you'll
too,
admit the coffee and the ice cream and the pizza is what they say it is.
yeah, yeah, it is. Oh, I love the only thing I mean, limoncello. I didn't know if I liked that so much, but the rest, oh, that gelato and all that stuff was so good.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
no, I would definitely go back to Italy, and I mean, we love to travel too. And so, I mean, have you traveled around Europe quite a bit?
So I did 3 months traveling with two other friends for 2 months, and then 1 month by myself of just
Okay,
hitchhiking around Europe. We started in
I love it.
Berlin and then made our way to Italy. Hitchhiked down, all, you know, pretty much all of Germany, crossed over
Cool.
Austria, came down the coast of Italy. Um, and then up Italy through France up towards Amsterdam, and then
Wow.
back down to France. And then I actually met someone in France who had a caravan, who needed to catch an emergency flight to Valencia in Spain.
Okay. Okay.
So she caught the flight, and I drove her caravan down,
Perfect.
south of France, north of Spain to Valencia, picked her up at the airport, and then I flew out.
Perfect.
So
Cool.
that was cool, but I love that, and I didn't know where I was going. It'd be this time where I was just hitching. I
Uh-huh.
put my finger out there, and
Uh-huh.
anywhere between 10 minutes to 10 hours sometimes,
I bet.
and there were times where I might have had a direction, and there were times where I was just like, where you going?
Uh-huh.
I'm heading up there. Oh, what's up there? Yeah, there's a smoked meal, there's this, there. Oh, can I join you? Can I come? Can you drop me
Oh,
along?
that's cool. I love that. That is so awesome. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, I wish I would. That is something that would be so cool to do. I mean, that is so. So yeah. So did you do YouTube channel or anything of all your travels, or do you have anything like that?
No, I was super disconnected to all kind of
Okay.
social media technology then.
Okay.
Um, I had a phone to check in every now and
Sure.
then with family, so they knew that I was all good. But it
Sure.
was at a point in my life where I was also, um, I was just going through a big stage of breaking all the societal rules and barriers.
Right.
We
Yep.
were really, hairy and dirty and long hair and beards.
Uh-huh.
And I was
Uh-huh.
walking around,
Uh-huh.
barefoot, which I still walk around barefoot, but it was, that kind of feel to it. And we are doing what's called dumpster diving, where
Okay. Yep. Yep.
yeah. So just a lot of it was either from supermarkets that they would throw away tons of food,
Oh
really
yeah.
good food, closed food and whatever, or we'd go to bakeries and ask if they had any bread left over from, they're baking new stuff every day. So we would get
Exactly.
pizzas and breads and whatever that they were going to
Oh
throw
wow.
away that we, took. And
Perfect.
there was a point I remember where we'd actually gotten so much food from a bakery, um,
Right.
that they had baked that day. We're going to throw away. It was, perfectly good. They were just closing.
Right.
We had so
Right.
much food that we were actually going around the streets giving out, giving
Oh
out
wow. You really did get a lot.
and
Wow.
and it was hilarious because to people's eyes, we were we looked homeless. We had big backpacks on and dirty and beards
Sure.
and
Sure.
whatever, but we were like giving away free food to people. It was a trip.
It would
Um,
be, yeah, because I mean, this just breaking societal thing. Everybody think it the other way around. That is so awesome. And well, if you were going barefoot, you were getting lots of grounding then, and too.
yeah,
So,
yeah, sure.
which most people don't in this day and age. It seems like. So, I think most people don't even know what grounding is that I talk to. So, so no, that is. So, will you do that later on again? You think doing that when maybe your daughter gets older, or I mean, that
No,
kind of stuff,
I think that was
or
at its moment in time where it was. I really needed to go to the other extreme of
yep,
society. I really needed to push all those boundaries, to break all those boundaries, to also just for myself, to put myself in situations that were also maybe uncomfortable or
yeah,
difficult, to see how I would respond, to see how I would feel.
I
We
could
got a
see
lot of
that.
people judging or eyes or this or that, whatever, and I
Right.
had to learn to deal with that and be okay with that, and that was all part of the process. And now
Yep.
where I'm at is kind of finding that balance between
Oh,
being
between
a part of society and not completely disconnected, but also being super connected to myself. Still, I'll still
amen.
we're living in like a small town. I'd like to live in a smaller, more nature and more
I
community, and that'll come in
yes,
its own time as well. But even here, I walk around barefoot because that's still something that I like to do, and I'm not going to just
good.
not do it because I'm in a town or a city or wherever. And so,
Yep, yep.
for
No,
my job, for my appearances, just for myself, I'm more clean cut. I'm more, I'm in a house. I'm, on the
yeah.
computer and on social media, and
Right,
I'm
right,
doing all
right.
that. But then there's also things that I'm always going to be barefoot. I'm always, I'm going to have my long hair. I'm going
It,
to have my thing here, and that's so
That's cool. And I think it was that you broke those because some people never get past that. It's like whatever society kind of has always got them in a, it's just like, well, society's got, I got to look this way or I got to do this way their whole life.
yeah.
And I think that's very important to um, be free. But, well, you have the best of both worlds there. So you've been on both, I think that's
Yeah.
very good. So do you do? I mean, do you speak or do you talk about what you're doing, like on stage, or
Not
so?
yet. I think each in itself. I'm fairly new to um, this part of my career, this
Okay,
part of my
okay,
my journey, and so I'm just taking, especially also coming back and when we were pregnant and whatever. So
right,
that's
right,
a whole big thing that's taking time. So I'm
true.
just enjoying the process, and I'm still young, so I'm enjoying being on podcasts, which I never thought I'd be on podcasts, and getting
I
a
hear you.
Facebook group up, which I never thought I would be in, an admin
Yep,
of a
yep,
Facebook group, and all these, even just being my own boss and working from home or working from a computer,
true.
that was always someone else's life, and so it's
Yeah,
it's cool. If that's where my life takes me, then
yep.
fantastic. That's where it takes me, and if down the road it takes me to speaking on stage or whatever, that'd be awesome. Why not? Like
I can see you
I'm
doing that.
down for the challenge. I'm love a
I
bit of
think
stage fright and
I'm with that one. Yeah, I can talk here, but you get me. I'm very introverted when I get a bigger crowd, so I'm very much that way. So that is so cool. I mean, I just all you've done and everything, and so before we end, Ben, is there anything else you would like that you're working on that you'd love the audience to know about?
uh, yes, and I'm making up a Facebook group at the
Okay,
moment. I don't know when this will come out, but I'm assuming by that time my group will be up and running. And
okay,
this is something that I'm super passionate about. Like
okay,
we mentioned before about community. Um, this is a way that I will be, able to help facilitate that community and help encourage people to come in and work on themselves and work, help other people. And it's kind of like when, even as a parent, they so often say, I'm going to learn so much from the baby.
right, right,
When you think about that, it just means that you can learn from anything or anyone. They don't need to be a teacher. They don't need to have more experience than you. They
very
don't need
true.
to
Yes,
to
yes,
to really do anything for you to be able to learn from them.
yes.
And so creating this community, I really want people to come together where we help one another, where it's,
Hey, awesome.
and that's my biggest, that's my new kind of thing happening. I've got a bunch of training, workshops that I'm going to put forward
Okay,
on that. Going to delve into different ideas on mindset and self love and self compassion and business strategies and all these amazing things that have got me to where I'm at.
right,
And
right.
and just yeah, just who knows? Maybe I'll have people on there doing lives and podcasting or whatever.
Perfect. So, do you have a name for your group then?
So yeah, the name for the group is for Holistic Healers and our Positive Impact Ripple.
Okay.
I'll give you the details for that afterwards that you can put
Okay.
down
Sounds great. We'll make
somewhere.
sure we have those in the show notes then. Okay.
But yeah, that's a place for holistic healers, holistic practitioners to come together and again, like I spoke about before, of just being this positive impact, um, having this positive impact ripple on the
Yep.
things around us, coming together
Yes.
and working on ourselves so that we ripple out. And
Yes.
when I see that happen with my clients, I can really see, all aspects of their personal life, their professional life come in.
Hmm.
So it's
Nothing
that
better.
that does
Yeah.
me, a lot of good. I see that. I get their wins from their clients, and that's just
Yeah.
passing forward. So
It's so awesome. I don't think there's anything better than when you can see that, and how it's going out. I think that is so cool. So I look forward to seeing all that too. So I look forward to seeing you. I mean, I can see you being on stage in not too distant future. So, and we talked before we began. You thought maybe even a podcast sometime.
Who knows? I'm open. Listen,
So,
I'm open for it, and I think that's also something that I've kind of realized with the life of, especially when I was traveling and getting in a car and then seeing where that took me. And I didn't know where I
uh,
was going to sleep. I didn't know where I was going to eat. I didn't know really
right,
anything
right,
was happening. And it was, I was just along for the ride. So
true.
that's where I'm at now. I'm just along for the ride. Um,
I like that.
if I get a podcast, then that would be great. And maybe down the line, you know, I'll have a desire to do that. Why not?
Yep,
Sure. I'll
yep,
get on stage. Yeah, that could be cool. I flow with it, and
yeah.
and
You just never know
I
where
love
life's
the
going to
idea.
take you. Yes,
I
I
love the
mean, you
idea.
just
Yeah.
no. I think that is so cool. So, but well, Ben, thanks for being our guest on the Dreamcatcher podcast,
Thank you
and
so much for having me.
well, thank you, and maybe sometime down the line have another follow up podcast, and
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
sounds
So,
good.
but I will look forward to that, and thank you again, and until next time, we'll talk to you later. Then,
All right, all the best. Thank you so much.
thank you.